Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Hello, hello. We're here to have our first episode of the Big Meow, and I'm your host, Kristen White.
And I'm Angela Howard.
So, Angela, let's just jump right in. Why did we decide to launch this crazy podcast called the Big Meow?
Well, I think there's two reasons, really. The people that we work with are coaches, authors, thought leaders, and speakers. So that's natural. And we also know that these people, our people that we are, get isolated and there's competition, and we're just not about that. So we came up with a fun way for all of us to gather, get together, and support each other on a business level, on an emotional level. Like, running your own business is hard. And also giving each other tidbits and tips on how to run our businesses better. That's initially why we did it.
One of the things that I just really noticed in this was, especially when the whole world converted to Zoom, right? So we're all sitting on Zoom calls, and I don't know about you, but I felt like I was on Zoom literally 8 hours a day. And one of the cool things that was happening is that I was having, a call at 10 o'clock in the morning with some incredible woman who owns her own business. She's an author. And then at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I was talking to another incredible woman who maybe lived way across the country, and they had just written an incredible book. And I would think, gosh, these two women need to meet each other. Okay. Like, these women need to connect. But I was also running my own business, and I didn't really have the time to do matchmaking, if you will, for all of us coaches, authors, and thought leaders. And so I just kept getting this persistent idea that was like, you should start a networking community. And then that way everybody can just meet each other and connect, and then the magic can happen. And so I started in person in Denver last summer, and we had some really fun networking meetings. Different people showed up from all over the Denver metropolitan area. And the synergy was just amazing, because I don't really think there's a lot of organizations where it's exclusive to coaches, authors, and thought leaders. And the prevailing request was, can we take this online, right? And so that's why we decided to put together this C.A.T.S network and ultimately the Big Meow podcast.
That's right. But I don't know if you remember, I think this thing, it came to you, and then I believe we were in a convertible driving quickly in some road, and you're like, I think I really want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I think so too. But our prerequisite was, if you remember, we want to have fun.
Absolutely.
That we are at a stage in our life and our business where the drudgery and trudgery, we paid our dues. So let's do business with each other, support each other, and do it having fun. Thus, the ears.
I think the ears are so much fun. And honestly, the whole thing about cats, Angela, I am a cat woman, right? Like, at one point I had 6 cats. Unfortunately, one of them passed away, but I'm down to 5 cats. I especially love orange cats. I have 3 orange cats. And one day, one of them was just laying all across my laptop like cats do. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, you're just demanding attention. You're just so irresistible. And, I thought, well, wait a minute. That's what we want to do as coaches, authors, thought leaders. We want to be irresistible. We want to demand attention, but in a way that is really female empowered, influence and authority. And I think that this is really the direction that I want to take C.A.T.S network. I'm speaking for myself personally, is just to stay in that momentum of positivity and possibility.
Yeah. I know you're a tarot person, and on most tarot cards, the power or empower card, if it's a woman's with a woman and a big, beautiful, like leopard or lion or some big cats. So the representation here of cats and cats supporting each other, bringing each other power, like we're powerful, more powerful together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's just take a really quick break and we'll come right back.
You are listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network.
All right, and we're back now. And I just want to share with all of you who are listening and watching this first episode that, we're going to have topics where Angela and I share them together and kind of just talk about what we've noticed along all the different women that we talk to and what's actually happening in this self-improvement marketplace, which is really where a lot of coaches, authors, thought leaders, and speakers grow and operate their business. But we're also going to be featuring all of you. So if you are a coach, an author, or thought leader, and you want to be a guest on C.A.T.S, we would love to hear from you. We want to hear about what's working for you in your business right now. We want to hear about some obstacles that you've overcome, possibly in some kind of amazing or unique way, and just really about what inspires you every day. I think that Angela touched on this a little bit earlier, that we can just get so isolated. I was talking to my husband the other day and I was like, gosh, when is the last time we left the house? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times I just working and then suddenly I've been home for like 4 days straight, or, I hate to admit, maybe even longer. And, I just think it's so important that we use opportunities to get out and just remember that when we're in the flow, we can create more opportunities and more momentum for ourselves.
Yeah, I think you're touching on that thing called work-life balance.
Busted.
But I think that we could actually be a part of that work-life balance for our cats, because we've been there and we can help with the other side. I mean, there's the business side and we'll help with that, but it's also about having fun, doing things for yourself, self-care. And I want to say also, we have done some of these interviews and I am so inspired by these women that we are interviewing. They're, I don't know, just amazing. I was actually thinking about this while I was getting ready today, and how one woman told me some little nugget and I'm like, I'm going to use that today. And I'm taking somebody else's, what she does for self-care. And I just think that kind of networking, and also it's about building community. And I know we're going to touch on this in another time, but I do believe it's about going deep and not wide. And our business models, we have to spread out, and we're trying to get Instagram likes and follows. But the people that we already know, the people that we're working with, and the people who we work with and their friends build this really tight and lovely community that all tend to know each other, in the end. And I think women really thrive in that type of community.
I definitely feel that you're so right, Angela, is that I do believe that COVID in a lot of ways pushed us all inward, right? It tore apart our communities. It broke apart our routines where we would get together and spend time and just be in the space of each other. And I just think that women in our souls, we need one another. We need to be together. We need to build each other up, support one another, recognize our accomplishments, walk one another through these dark moments. And that's really my goal and my inspiration behind, creating this Big Meow, is just to give a big shout out to all of the amazing cats that are out there. And, along those lines, I was kind of thinking about this, Angela. I think that we need to have some names. And I was wondering, I don't know, you're pretty fancy. So I think that we should call you Fancy Cat.
Well, I think that's fitting. So I'll take that on. So Now, Kristen, what about you and your mystic media and your mystic in a minivan? I think you're pretty mystical. So you're a mystic cat. How about that?
I love that. I want to be mystic. And I do think that that's so fun because, we all have our own intuition. We have our intuitive guidance, however that shows up for us, whether you're a tarot card reader or you just like to do some mindfulness or some yoga. I do believe that intuition in our business is such a big deal. And when we trust it, that's where we really open the door for like divine synchronicity.
Some of the most powerful women, I totally agree with you. And then I just wanted to jump in and say some of the most powerful women I've met use their intuition. I mean, some big CEOs and CFOs that you and I've worked with or just, have come across, you can tell that they trust deep down inside. And then from that, they've moved out and made fantastic decisions.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that that's such an important word, this word trust. And I think that when you have a community around you, it helps support you so that you have the courage and the confidence to move forward on that trust.
Yes. And you'd mentioned this about how this is really about showcasing the women who are coaches, authors, thought leaders, and speakers. And we do say this podcast may not be for everybody, but it's for that community, which feels a bit, I guess, good and kind of more cohesive. So that they know that the people that are speaking and that they're going to be communing with have been through it like they have. Or it could be somebody starting a new business and we're there to help rise them up. Because that when one rises, we all rise. And I do believe that we believe that. And that's a part of our C.A.T.S community.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to thank all of you for joining us for our first episode, and we'll be back. We've got many topics to cover and lots of amazing cats to interview. And I just want you all to remember that cats are better together.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated, sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.